seriously affecting farming activities.
Yeah, many peasant farmers have fled their ancestral homes and abandoned their farmlands. The implication many have warned is a looming food crisis in the country. But food shortage is not the only worry that Nigeria faces. The cost of available food items have skyrocketed, making it difficult for many homes to eat 3 or even 2 balanced meals.
Absolutely. Now, if the sustained attacks on farming communities continue, Nigeria could occupy the #1 spot on the world's country with a high hunger index. Now, what must Nigeria do to end the killings that now pose a major threat to Nigeria's food security and, of course, the sustenance of the people in general? We have with us in the studio security consultant Oladende Ario. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Nigeria is facing so many threats, but the 2 key ones right now that we want to discuss: food insecurity on one side, and then, of course, insecurity on the other side, really. And somehow it's affecting food insecurity, food security rather.
And food prices.
Prices,
well.
yes.
See, especially when the affected communities, before now, identified food baskets
of the nation.
Nigeria, whether we like it or not. We get the bulk of our supplies, agricultural products from these states. And the question is, are we not inching towards famine or greater crisis, burden of food insecurity? If that happens, now we are spending so much importing some food items, despite the fact that we still got so much from this end. Now, what will now happen when the entire farmlands have been overrun, either by bandits or herdsmen? For me, it's a big problem, it's a big issue. Why? Because it was a strong campaign point by the ruling party, the current government, that they will ensure security. Unfortunately, if you ask me to give them a pass mark, to give them a mark, I'll score them the government very low. In the last 11 years, we have spent about 3 trillion naira on defense. And so much money that could have gone into developing the country on other frontiers. Yet, we don't seem to be getting anywhere.
Remember the money from the excess crude account as well?
Wherever it may come from,
$1 billion.
the money belongs to Nigerians. Okay? It's not from any private pocket. And I'm concerned. The point again is that the dimension daily is becoming increasingly frightening. In the sense that like a joke, it began like a joke. Keeping cattle is a private business venture. Over time, they've had pockets of crisis, but right now, it has become a full-blown war, I will say. Why? Because some communities have been overrun and taken over by herdsmen. For me, that's an army of occupation. So, why government is still not coming up stronger than it used to do, than it was doing, still a problem. Good that they said they've sent 1,000 troops to Zamfara now. But that they are now going to Zamfara after the attack, for me, is just being reactive. And again, a failure of intelligence. We've been hammering these things over and over. With quality and dedicated intelligence gathering, all of these things could be nipped in the bud. And then we will have been saved needless loss of lives and properties.
What could really be in the center of this inability to handle these issues headlong? Nigeria. When you mention Nigeria, Nigeria is Africa. Yeah. And Nigeria is known to cough and every other person in Africa stand still. What is really the problem in this?
Nelson Mandela said it, that the future of Nigeria is the future of Africa. That until Nigeria gets it right, Africa will continue to be disregarded in the global community. Now, you want to ask yourself, in 1967, when we fought a civil war, warfare technology was at a very crude level then. Within 3 years, I'm talking of a declared war now, the war was brought to an end. And of course, peace came upon the land. How come it's becoming increasingly impossible to, for instance, put an end to Boko Haram? Because for me, there's a connection between Boko Haram, the herdsmen, and of course, the bandits.
And Boko Haram seems to be getting emboldened gradually
By the day.
The way they attack military
Like
formation.
when I was invited yesterday, and I was like, what new thing are we going to be saying? What have we not said before? I also remember that when government asked for $1 billion to still prosecute Boko Haram war, we were all like, oh, that would be spending $1 billion per day at the ruling exchange rate then. All of these things are in place. So why are we not winning the war? Something must be missing. I just read now that a policeman was arrested, I think in Plateau, or it was in Zamfara, for selling arms to herdsmen. Should we begin to look inside and, you know, rework and reorder our architecture so much that we will no longer be waiting, you know, and be acting post-attack? It doesn't work that way. We should be upfront.
Well, it seems that there are so many issues. In fact, so many issues Nigerians are getting confused.
Yeah.
At least some Nigerians are getting confused by the day, because you will hear of.
They're not confused. They are lost.
There are so many. Well, because on one
It's even worse. Even worse.
They are helpless.
Because on one side, Nigerians were initially told that these attackers in the Middle Belt were foreigners, you know, members of ISWA.
From Libya.
Later on, we're told that they were indigenous herdsmen in the country. And then, you know, so many reasons given. But then you wonder, yes, there is a problem. Now, how do you tackle it? Eventually, when some soldiers were sent there were accusations that they were even, you know, doing some things that we don't even want to repeat here.
Right.
But they were not doing the needful. They were not doing what was expected of them as soldiers of, you know, of Nigeria. They were not protecting the people. You know, so these reasons and all that, which should be tackled first? What should be done first?
You call them reasons. I call them excuses. So far, they do not hold water. They don't add up. And I would say they don't make sense. We're not talking about unknown situations. There are clear cases and proofs and evidences of destruction of people, of lives, properties, and communities. So why government is not seeing it in that light that, oh, the first responsibility they owe us as a people is to secure our lives?
Initially, they told us
So
there were clashes.
Yes, let them, even if they are communal clashes or they are from Libya or from space, for me, it's not the issue. The issue is there must be enough countermeasures and counter actions, affirmative actions, that we put a permanent end to all of these things. Now, I don't understand. Do you remember a time in the East when kidnapping was the issue? The governors made laws and they said if you are connected to kidnapping, whatever structure you have on ground, they will demolish. And they did that extensively. It helped to put an end, to a large extent, to kidnapping in the Southeast. Now, we have people who have been trained in all of these arts around, both in service and out of service. We've been on this platform submitting recommendations and all of that. But you begin to wonder, why can't we have some peace? Okay? Boko Haram was the thing up until 2015. But in between then and now, herdsmen came in. We're still battling with that. Okay, how do we go? Then banditry now came in. I keep asking myself, is it not the same people operating within Boko Haram that are also operating within herdsmen? Because the average herdsman is not a trained fighter. Okay? They don't, I mean, they only go about with sticks. I grew up seeing them around. But today's so-called herdsmen now, they carry AK-47. You want to first of all ask yourself, how did they source for all these arms that they're carrying around? And then, is anybody looking at that direction? Okay, if you can cut the supply, perhaps you can reduce the capacity to wreak havoc or to do damage to start with. But I can't see that. Before you know, another group fell out of Boko Haram, Al-Banawi, and those ones, they are far more vicious. Of course, you've been hearing of the things they've been doing. And then herdsmen came, then banditry now came in. And people just muster themselves together, hit a community, and kill people. And
All right.
So those who are saying that they should remove the service chiefs, I have told them, if you remove the service chiefs, the other people who will still be promoted or who will run the system, are they not the same team working with the service chiefs? Are we now saying that our problem now are the service chiefs? I refuse to accept that. IGs have been replaced here for whatever reasons without making the police any frankly better than it should be. So it's like cutting the hair to treat headache. The
policeman accused us of selling ammunition to alleged herdsmen. It's not a service chief.
Oh, no, it's, God bless you. And in all of these, three things come out, which is hidden. Number one, there are fifth columnists in the system. People who are benefiting from all of this crisis. So they will want it to continue for as long as possible. Okay? Number two, of course, it is natural. The government may have enemies who may not want them to succeed. But government has the capacity, the arms, I mean, the resources to counter any opposition that is making things not to work. I mean, that are making things not to work. Again, the third end is the fact that those who are being sent to go and fight, are they not disillusioned? Is the spirit of fighting very much in them? Do they still, are they still committed to say, oh, this is our fatherland, we must fight and make things work? And there are many reasons that could make them have become disillusioned. Okay? We've lost so many wonderful officers and men to this, I call it needless carnage.
All right, some theorists say that part of what is going on is external, where some persons or some agencies or some organizations want to destabilize the country for whatever reason, and as that is going on, some other neighbors of Nigeria or maybe other countries in Africa are springing up just to reduce the leadership position of Nigeria.
Our influence? Well, a few years back when they said Nigeria, I mean, they say giant of Africa. Somebody said giant with a clay foot. Okay? So whatever that position we think we are holding, so long as there's no peace in our land, and economically we are also weak, I beg, we should reconsider situations. If you want to understand the fact that if you are the head of a family, your first assignment is to protect your family against, let me just say, unwanted neighbors now, so to say. At the point that you can no longer do that, then you have lost it. It does not matter to me whether they are coming from Atlantis or Siberia. The government owes us that basic duty to give us security. It is taken as giving. It should be like that. It doesn't have to become rocket science and making it look like it's not possible. No. Somebody should somewhere sit down and examine these factors and say, what is the problem? Is it funding? Okay. No. Is it equipment? No. Warfare has taken a new dimension that you don't have to physically be anywhere to trash insurgents.
When we're talking about funding, you know, we've got so many
even
details
global funding
from security experts and from what we've seen happened in the past, like the protest of some police officers in Borno State, some soldiers lamenting in the past that they were not paid and all that. So when we talk about funding, should that even be the question? Should it be about, you know, proper utilization of the funds?
You know,
because defense still has the highest budgetary allocation every year.
A gentleman sat with me there in the waiting room, and when we were looking at these issues, he simply said it would be very wrong to believe that actually we've spent 3 trillion naira on defense, because corruption has taken a dimension here that has become unbelievable. And the question is, all the money being voted for arms and ammunition, and most importantly, welfare of the troops, are they getting to them? We've had cases where people said they were surviving on Gari and all of that. You know, social media has made information circulation much easier now. You just see a video showing soldiers with their faces covered, saying things. Whether they are lying or not is not the issue. But for there to be any fire, I mean any smoke, there must be fire.
Absolutely.
And the police protest has gone a very long way to lend credence to short thinking that they are not well taken care of. So again, we are now allowing corruption to weaken our defense system. And for me, it's another minus. It should be possible to track all of these things. We have BVN, we have TSA and all of that. And we also have the Office of Due Process, who I think vets every contract. So why are they not being put to use to checkmate all of these misbehaviors and misdemeanors?
Several countries have opted to assist Nigeria with intelligence, with outright training and all of that. I wonder where all that stands now as it is. Israel, United Kingdom, United States, France, Germany, they have all at one point said, we are ready to assist Nigeria. Where does that stand right now in all of this? I
want to be, because it's not an open thing, right? I don't think government want to come and begin to tell us, oh, Israelis are here, the Jews are here, or whatever. But assistance of different dimensions are there waiting for us. Are we taking advantage of them? And if not, why have we refused to? Knowledge is universal, and no single person can claim, oh, I know it all, or I can do it all. Especially in a situation whereby it is obvious that we are handicapped. If we are not handicapped or disabled, so to say, Boko Haram should by now have been a thing of the past, reduced to a point where maybe pockets of rare attacks. Like we were told initially. That was what we were told, that they've been decimated. You know, you have to begin to ask yourself, what is the meaning of decimation in warfare? Because if they have been decimated and annihilated, as we were told, they should not have the capacity to do that more damage that they are not doing.
Okay, like you said, the government, of course,
Sorry,
wouldn't come out.
I missed the question. Okay. You said the other African countries are propping up. Nobody will wait for you. If you choose to be a lacquer or a lackey or whatever, others have the right to advance, to progress. Because
Ghana seemed to be taking leadership role in West Africa.
I mean, you remember that
Rwanda in Central Africa
visited Ghana and refused to drop into Nigeria. People made noise about it because it was a diplomatic slap on us. But he did it. And that dent is still very much there. We just have to get our games right, clean up our acts, and get it to move forward. If we don't, population or no population, they will overtake us, and they will carry greater influence in global politics.
All right, we have to end it here now due to time, but we must thank you, Olade Rio, security practitioner and consultant. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you.
Nice day.
Right.